A talk show that cuts to the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and no BS. Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith.
Here's a man who would not take it anymore. A man who stood up against the scum, the dogs, the filth. Here is someone who stood up.
It's time for Citizen Smith.
Good morning. How are you today on this Thursday, October 14th? Congratulations to the United States soccer team. Once again, the men defeated Costa Rica last night, 2-1.
That powerhouse of international soccer.
Hey, man, we're looking pretty good. Brought the kids up. World Cup qualifiers looking better. We're in. We're going to get in, no problem, it looks like. Unlike the Olympics, where we didn't get in. It was a catastrophe.
Ugh.
And the coach was faulted for not bringing up enough of the young players. Well, they got a youthful team, and they look like it, and they're very exciting, and I love it.
Very good.
Soccer, baby. But let's talk a little basketball. I keep getting text messages from my friends, especially my overseas friend in China who's an avid basketball fan, Dallas Mavericks, but he's all over Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, another person. How about that Kyrie Irving? It's like, what the hell's going on with Kyrie Irving? Oh, he doesn't want to get vaccinated. Yep. Oh, really? What's the big deal? Oh, he won't be able to play.
Yeah. It's like, I guess just not the home games, because it's the New York mandate that's keeping him from doing it.
Yes. Governor Bill de Blasio issued an emergency executive order in August requiring people to prove they had at least one vaccine dose before they entered indoor venues like bars, restaurants, and gyms and basketball arenas. So now Irving is, kind of a weirdo. Anyway, everybody knows he's a weirdo. He was in Boston for 2 seasons. He was the weirdest, crazy dude we ever had play on the team.
He's like one of those guys that he's right up there with the flat earthers.
Yeah, he thinks the earth is flat, but wouldn't justify his reasoning. When I heard that, I thought it was a joke, but he's totally serious. And that's when I declared Kyrie Irving is nuts, like straight out of the loony barn. I don't know where this guy's coming from. So my friend yesterday was saying, well, is it because he's just stupid? Or is he brainwashed? I say all of the above. I guess he went to Duke for, 2 years? Anyway, he didn't get much of an education when he was there. My friend, he probably had people taking his tests for him. Because you're questioning his mental intelligence at this level, where he won't get a vaccine and he won't say why. Because if he says why, he'll just sound stupid. I can imagine his reasoning. It's probably some conspiracy theory from outer space. So it's coming to a head. Season's right around the corner. They play 6 consecutive home games on starting October 24th. He risks losing $17 million. He makes $35 million this season. He has earned about $160 million, and he could earn another $187 million with a contract extension. Wow. That's a lot of money.
That's some do-re-mi.
That's a lot of money this dude's going to walk away from because he doesn't want to get the COVID vaccine. 95% of NBA players have done so. Not Kyrie Irving. Oh, man.
Jeez.
So the team's got to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Let him go.
I don't think they'll let him go. I don't know. I mean, Durant, all those guys, that's why he came there.
Well, I'm utilizing, once again, the Wall Street Journal sports article here. It says the New Jersey Nets, or we call them the New Jersey Nets or New York Nets now. I don't remember. Anyway.
The Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets, thank you. The Brooklyn Nets say they welcome Irving back with open arms, but he's running out of time to make amends as Brooklyn plays, as I mentioned, the first 6 games starting October 24th. And they said, essentially, either you're in and get the vaccine or just get out. Because we don't have room for you on the team. We have to fill your space. We can't give up that, and we'll just move along without you.
Bye-bye. That's a lot of money, though. 17 million.
What is he? He's got to be out of his mind. I mean, can you imagine walking away from 100? I thought when he left the Celtics, nobody would, hire this guy because he was such a basket case on our team. And then Brooklyn came around like I couldn't believe offering him all this money. I said, "Do you realize what you're bringing into your house? It's a lunatic, a crazy guy, selfish, not a team player, ruined the chemistry in the Boston Celtics. It was a fiasco. It was the worst free agent signing in the history of the team." And then Brooklyn goes around and brings him there and thinks, well, he's going to be different with us. He won't be crazy. He won't be selfish. Oh, no, he's all the above, and and here we go.
And he's expensive.
And he's the most overrated, high-priced guy in the NBA. So, I don't know. What's the prediction here? My prediction is he won't get the vaccine, and he'll leave the team. He'll find a city where they don't require mandatory vaccines.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
But the NBA has strict protocols themselves. So, I don't know. It's interesting. The drama is unfolding in the NBA. I need my glasses for this next thing. This one caught me by surprise. I didn't see this coming from a mile away. It was out of the blue. Nicholas Kristof. Name ring a bell?
No.
Well, he's a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist who I frequently read. He's been interviewed in Portland media news. They did an interview with him on one of the TV news networks this summertime because he lives in Oregon. He's a Yamhill, Oregon
Oh, nice.
born and raised guy, 37 years with the New York Times as a reporter, high-level editor, and opinion columnist. Will be running for governor of Oregon. Leaving the newspaper job where he made a name for himself as a great reporter. He won, like I said, the Pulitzer, but he also is a fantastic columnist, 62 years of age.
That's good.
He's going to file on with the candidate committee of Oregon's Secretary of State as a Democrat. Can a columnist make a good governor?
Well,
no political experience. I figure anybody can do a better job than the current governor in the office.
I knew that was going.
Well, come on. Yeah, she's the only way. It's going to cost a lot of money too to get in. You're like $500,000 minimum, right? Just to have something to show for yourself.
Yeah.
Kate Brown, when she ran, spent what was it over? Where's the number? $30-something million. Because she, comes from a billionaire household of her husband and herself, and she essentially ran the largest campaign, probably in the state's history, with those kind of dollars.
That's big money.
Yeah, Kristof, former Beijing bureau chief, won his first Pulitzer in 1990 for covering the Tiananmen Square crackdown by China's military in 1989. Him and his wife have written several books. She also shared the Pulitzer for covering that. Interesting. He said he's gotten to know a lot of presidents, tyrants, Nobel laureates, and warlords while visiting 160 countries. Said in a statement, and precisely because I have a great job, outstanding editors, and the best readers, I may be an idiot to leave, but you all know how much I love Oregon and how much I've been seared by the suffering of old friends there, so I've reluctantly concluded that I should try not only to expose problems, but also see if I can fix them directly, thus running for governor. This from a New York Times article in his quote. I'll have to hear how he speaks in the debates and such to determine if I think he's a competent candidate for the job. But
see if he can cut the mustard.
It's easy to write about politics, but can you be a politician and a good one? Governor Kate Brown ran in 2015. She was put in the office, so she's only in for the 5-year term. She can't run again. Thank God.
Termed out.
And we've got quite a bit of candidates forming on the Republican side. The Democratic side is just showing its cards. And let's take a look at some of the other candidates that are running. It's, not until next November 8th when the election is. But we've got our gubernatorial candidates. It's shaping up to be a very interesting race. I think we should get somebody competent out of this one. A lot of them are bringing good experience. The latest one to jump into the Republican pie is Jessica Gomez, running for the 2022 governor's race for Oregon. Joining GOP candidates Bud Pierce, Stan Pulliam.
I want a governor named Bud. Governor Bud.
Gomez, who is the founder and CEO of the small microelectronics manufacturer Rogue Valley Micro Devices, serves on the Business Oregon Commission and Oregon Tech Board of Trustees. She brings a lot of credentials there. Again, we'll have to hear these people talk. That's a big determination on whether voters believe in them or not in the debates, right?
Yeah, everything is a silent movie until you hear somebody talk.
Well, that's when you really get a feel for, is this person competent? Do I like this person? I wasn't around when Kate Brown was out there running, but she must have done well in the debates. Did you watch it?
You
were in Seattle at that time.
No, I was a little disconnected, at that time.
Salem cancer doctor Bud Pierce and Sandy Mayer and insurance executive Stan Pulliam, both Republicans, have declared they will run. It's Pierce's second run for governor. He lost to Kate Brown by 7 percentage points in 2016. No high-profile Democrats until I read this one about Christoph have announced they will run. But the Oregonian Oregon Live reported they discussed potential candidates, including Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, Treasurer Tobias Reed, and House Speaker Tina Kotek. Secretary of State Shirmia Fagan said she is not running for governor in 2022 and intends to serve her full 4-year term, which began in January.
I think it's Shemia.
What?
I think it's Shemia.
What did I say?
Not that.
Shemia.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There's a lot of people running.
Well, yeah, it's good. Better have a lot of candidates to choose from.
Come on down.
I'm a Democrat. I'm voting for Christoph right off the bat. Great columnist, political writer, smart guy, grew up in Yamhill, lives out in the Willamette Valley, knows Oregon. Yeah, why not? When they were talking about the last race, Brown and then Representative Knut Buehler combined spent more than $37 million to pursue the office. In comparison, Pulliam so far for this one has so far reported raising more than $180,000. Got a long ways to go, buddy. Christoph is going to have to raise some money too. Maybe he'll get some of those. I don't know how much they go into their own savings and checking account, but that's a whole nother ball game. Is okay, you declare yourself, now you got to raise money to run, and if you don't get the money, you won't win. So let's talk a little environmental, which I like to touch base on when I can. First, I wanted to mention this thing. I like to watch China, as you know, and what's going on in that country, because it's a very important time. But interesting to find this story, and it's kind of a statement on which direction we're all headed in the relationship between the two, because even though it may not be an international newsworthy type of event, it's pretty significant in what it states between the two countries' chilled relationships. I'm talking about the University of Harvard University is moving its popular Chinese language program to Taipei, Taiwan, from Beijing, because they said the academic atmosphere at the college is chilled, and culture exchanges between the United States and China is at its lowest, and they can't even get rooms to run their classes. They've shut them out to school. The program spokesman says that They planned on moving to Taiwan for over a year now, and sometime it reflects a wide array of operational factors. In other words, they don't want them there anymore. They couldn't even get their classrooms set aside and reserved for their courses. So they send American students to Beijing to learn Chinese and study the culture of the country. And it's an exchange between the two countries. But Beijing now is a very anti-American, hostile government towards us and its leader, right down to its academia now, where one of the greatest colleges, if not the greatest college in the world from America, Harvard University, had to leave the country because they can't conduct their courses there anymore because of a lack of cooperation. It's a summer language program, and the school wouldn't make available classrooms for them and dormitories, I guess, for students to stay in or apartments for their advanced language studies. And they would also travel across China, learn about its history and culture. That's all gone now. Here we come, Taiwan, Harvard University.
Here we come.
And that tells you where things are headed. I'm extreme when I say this, but I think we should pull exchanges with Chinese students shouldn't be allowed to attend American universities anymore until they stop pulling this stuff on us. I think we should punish them by not letting their kids study at our universities if this is the way they're going to treat our students. As I've mentioned, Xi Jinping's daughter attends Harvard University. You would think there'd be more cooperation with academics, but that's how austere the relationships are getting between the two countries. And I will say that it's China that's causing the austerity, not America. We're trying to cooperate, but they don't want any more. They view us as a country they don't respect anymore. They don't like this being the government and a country that they think they should dominate and be superior to in the future, that being America. And that starts by getting rid of Western education and cooperation in academics. Wow, could we get to a lower point in our relationship? It's sad. It's too bad. Things were moving forward for decades. Now they're going backwards very quickly. China-U.S. relations, right down to we can't even have exchange programs through some of the greatest college institutions that we both offer. So they're moving to Taiwan, where they say there's a bastion of free speech still in an otherwise authoritarian region.
Interesting.
Do you really find it so?
I just curious,
What?
How fast they're doing this.
Doing what?
Moving to Taiwan. I mean, do they space already and they're going?
Well, let me back up. I failed to share that information. But yes, they do have the space already, and it's been over a year in the making, they said.
Okay.
Because of the pandemic caused a shutdown, and then they weren't getting, it seems, cooperation. I'm reading between the lines, and then they arranged, with Taiwan to relocate. Because it's important. If you're going to learn Mandarin, you need to be in a Mandarin-speaking country, at least part of your education. That's the only way. You want to learn English, you come to America. It's the only way you're really going to learn, or England.
You need full immersion. I mean,
exactly.
Fully involved.
And I've met students
speaking every day.
I taught in China for 2 years, 91 to 93, and I met students. Most of them went to Taiwan at that time. They didn't go to China to learn because Taiwanese had better teaching institutions to learn Mandarin, and they have a more traditional style of the language. China has simplified the language, its writing especially. So they have simplified simplified Mandarin, whereas Taiwan uses traditional Mandarin, which is a little more complicated and more authentically or historically accurate on how to speak and write. So you see the two different, you have to learn like two different styles of writing.
Yeah.
And I used to, before I came to Oregon, I was the editor of a Chinese English newspaper in Boston, and we put half of the newspaper in Chinese and half in English. And and we put it in Taiwanese Mandarin, not traditional China Mandarin.
Gotcha.
So that was because a lot of the readers in Boston and in that area are from Taiwan, and you read more traditional Chinese.
Don't forget, people can call in.
Yeah.
Call in.
503-744-7022.
Thank you.
But you put it up there anyway.
I know. I don't keep
On
it
the
up the whole
video.
show. I just want
Yeah.
people to remind them.
I was gonna help you out with where they. I wanted to just mention where they were actually relocating in Taiwan. Let's see, China's into.
Yeah, I hope it's like a good part of town.
In Taiwan,
next to the food, food pavilion.
Yeah,
be awesome.
And it says the Harvard program started in 2005. Initially cost $4,500 by 2015 for the students to attend. 1,000 students have participated, according to the Beijing Language and Culture University website. The program was canceled in 2020 this year because of the pandemic. It is now scheduled to begin next summer under the name Harvard Taipei Academy at the National Taiwan University in Taipei. The new host institution said that in addition to offering language courses over 8 weeks, the program would give its 60 or so students the opportunity to visit attractions around Taiwan and participate in cultural activities like Chinese calligraphy and paper cutting workshops.
Interesting.
Wow, that's what we call sharing and exchanging. That's great. I would have loved to have taken that. It's never too late to go back to school.
There's a great fast food Taiwanese place called TKK that's in Vancouver. They just put one in Vancouver, British Columbia, but people were raving about it. And
TKK?
Yeah, it's called TKK, but it's in Taiwan. It's supposed to be some amazing
in Vancouver.
Vancouver, British Columbia. It's in.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about Vancouver. No. I'm not going to go to BC to eat at this place.
It's supposed to be so amazing. People are like pilgrimaging to Vancouver, British Columbia to try this place.
Yeah.
But that's one famous Taiwanese thing.
We must have a couple at least, or one Taiwanese good restaurant here.
Something.
I don't know what the difference is really between Taiwanese and Chinese, food, but there's a slight difference in the way they do things. I mean, Taiwan is an island, so they do tend to have more seafood.
Yum.
I know. I did eat at a Taiwan hot pot.
Oh, nice.
In Portland, that was really good. That my friend Pete Lee took me to, and man, was that a hot pot? I was like getting dizzy. I was like, the Taiwanese don't. It was as hot as Sichuan stuff. I mean, wow. I guess they like their spicy food in Taiwan.
Nice.
Wind farms. Finish off on this. Wind farms. The Biden administration plans on putting a major infrastructure of wind farms along the entire U.S. coastline from east to west. Now, I love to see this, but at the same time, I'm worried, we don't want to completely pollute our scenery and wild animals. Got to be careful. Birds flying, whales that are swimming in areas. I mean, there's a lot of environmental concerns before you can go launch something of this magnitude. It's all well and good to have wind farms, but, they are kind of an eyesore. If you're looking off the coast of Oregon, say, at Cannon Beach, do you want to see like 100 wind farms, windmills along the ocean horizon?
I'd be curious to see what kind of technology they want to implement, because the technology in that field is like gone crazy to where, they used to have these big turbines with blades. Now they have these, it's like singular poles that vibrate, that it's all these different systems. I'm curious now.
Yeah. Well,
wind farms. I'm down for wind, but
Well, there's no guarantee companies will lease the space in the federal waters, they say, and build them. One of the offshore areas are identified will be subject to lengthy federal, state, and local reviews. And then if the potential sites could harm endangered species, that's also a conflict. Military activity, damage underwater archaeological sites, harm local industries such as tourism, or also fishing, commercial fishing, has to work right. So all these things are going to make this more difficult than we think. And no, a lot of people think it is going to be difficult. Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Maine, Oregon coast is the one they're targeting. California coast, of course, too. Oh, that beautiful, pristine coastline of Oregon. You're going to see wind farms up and down the coastal route as you're driving, and suddenly what used to be this pristine view of the gorgeous, rough coast of Oregon is now going to be littered with windmills. Tell me that won't have an environmental fight.
Yeah, that's going to be a battle.
Well, they want to try to reach the Biden administration 50% reduction in fossil fuel use by 2030. In order to get to that point, you're going to need to do alternative energy like windmills, solar. What else we got left? That's it. Those are the two biggies.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad when you use nuclear power, you risk of melting down the world because it's pretty good. You know, it produces good power. It's just not clean. You know, I mean, it's clean to a point, and then it's not.
Yeah. And lastly, we got a very important global meeting going on, two actually this month or next month in Glasgow, where 20,000 government leaders, journalists, activists, and celebrities from around the world are preparing to go to Glasgow for the Climate Summit meeting. But there's also another meeting going on just as important, and it's about the biodiversity protection of the world because of a collapse of species and systems that is collectively taking place and also needed to sustain the Earth. It's kind of important.
Are they all going by steamship? How are they getting there, I wonder?
Doesn't matter how they get there. It's important that they get there and some actual solid action comes out of both these meetings, the climate summit and the biodiversity meeting, because they say, scientists and researchers, that the plants and all the animals that make up the planet functioning properly are being exterminated. We need to protect the forests. We need to protect the biodiversity because they protect us on planet Earth. And we kind of forget about that. Instead, we think about farming and logging and mining, and that always is a precedence. But now, this is what this meeting does. It tries to say, these are areas that need to be protected. This is how we're going to have to do this and that. It's very complicated. They haven't done much. The last meeting in 2010, they said very little was actually accomplished from what they talked about. But now we're at a critical junction, and they have 21 targets and blueprints to reduce biodiversity loss. And it's very lengthy. I don't need to go through everything, but it's time to take initiative on all this. Talk is cheap. We're out of the time to talk. It's time for action.
I think stop eating beef and just eat
habitat destruction
vegetables.
Is the biggest problem with biodiversity loss, because when you rip down rainforests, you're ripping down ecosystems. When you over harvest the ocean, you're destroying ecosystems. And we're trying to protect 30% of the biodiversity and land in the world. So 70% is for our humans to do whatever they want. We're just trying to preserve 30%. This is what this all comes down to, and I've mentioned this in the past. That isn't a heck of a lot of the original natural world to protect in the overall scheme of things. Would have been nice to have seen 50%.
It's like Rhode Island, just a little tiny piece. Stop eating beef. Quit harvesting cows. Cow farts are bad for the environment.
I'm having an elk burger for lunch today. Elk is okay.
Oh, elk is good, yeah.
Elk burger.
Elk is good because you have to stalk it and kill it, and
Well, these are kind of commercially farmed,
like a reindeer,
elk, right? They're not going out and selling commercial elk ground meat to. These aren't wild caught. I'm sure they have farms, with the elk on them.
Yeah.
Right. Can't go out and kill all the wild ones.
Reindeer, domesticated caribou.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I like that's the one alternative for my meat consumption rather than beef. So that does it for today's show. Thank you for joining me. That does it.
I had to do it.
That does it for this week. It means I'll talk to you next Tuesday, because Friday we won't be doing the show, and Monday either. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday now, Citizen Smith, talking about the stories that matter to Oregon, the country, and the world. I'll talk to you later.